I heard Raymond tell you in the hallway. I think Draymond obviously got second team all defensive. Just what does that mean? Are you surprised? Like, what do you think of that?
Well, I think he should have been first team, but it is a great honor even to be on the second team. Draymond has long been one of the premier defenders in the league. We know that. I think the season he had this year, playing I think 73 games, giving us the effort he did night in and night out, holding down the fort in a season where we were missing guys left and right. He really anchored our defense and played at such a high level and showed that he's still got a lot left in the tank.
Steve, after digesting it and seeing the video, what do you think about the lineup with Gary and his impact on the game? It seemed like he had a significant impact when he was in there.
Gary played great, really did a good job. I thought our whole team really came out and played with a purpose and played well enough to win, but we just didn't get it done. They made the plays down the stretch. We didn't. There were some plays during the game that I'd like to have back. The players would like to have back, but it doesn't work that way. So the main thing is to focus on the process and just fill up the cup today, recharge, and get ready to go tomorrow because we've been in these series for a long time, for a decade now, and we understand the swings, the back and forth. So we just got to get ready for tomorrow.
What specifically did you like about what Gary brought to that lineup with the other four guys?
Well, his defense is terrific. On-ball defense, his range, and then his speed. He got out in transition and got some layups, and he gives us a little different look in pick and roll just with his speed and he created a lot of space for us. So he really played well.
To follow off Ron's question, Gary seemed to kind of really open things up in the pick and roll in that first half. What was the adjustment that you saw Darvin and the Lakers make in the second half with the pick and roll?
So they changed the matchup. Yeah.
So
they just changed who was guarding whom, and and that affects who you're bringing into pick and roll and who's stationed on the perimeter. So that's a fairly common adjustment come playoff time is who's guarding whom, and just by changing matchups you can change the tactics, and so that was a good adjustment from them. We did some things to counter that in the third quarter that I really liked, and in the fourth there were probably some things we could have done better. But again, this is high-level stuff. These are two great teams, and we went back and forth. We had our chances. We just didn't quite get it done.
I know it's been 7 years, but what can you take from being down 3-1, coming back against the Thunder, if anything? Obviously, you still have Steph, Clay, Draymond, et cetera. Right. So what can you take back from that experience 7 years later now?
Yeah, I mean, and I think 4 years ago, Toronto down 3-1.
Yeah.
Winning Game 5 in Toronto, to bring it back here. We still believe we would have sent it back to Game 7 if Clay hadn't, suffered the torn ACL. So you definitely draw on those experiences. And for me, and what I shared with the team and what they shared with each other, the vets, is that it's game to game. Everything changes. So you just focus on the next game. You turn the page quickly, re-energize, get the next game, and when you do that, the momentum shifts in your favor, and you don't have to worry about anything other than the very next game.
Coach, like you were just saying, I mean, you just have to focus on the task at hand, the next game at hand. But when you're actually like in the moment, obviously you got to do that. But take us through that process a little bit. Like, how hard is that just not to even think about the fact that you guys are down 3-1?
I mean, that's just the reality. So you don't, I think the process for me and probably for every coach in the league you don't sleep very well after a loss. You watch the tape 2-3 times. You lament all the things you might have done differently, or maybe lament some of the things that you did do or didn't do. However you want to think about it or see it, and you get it out of your system, and then you turn the page, and that's how the players have to approach it too. These guys are the most competitive people on earth, and you don't lose a game and just get over it in an hour. I think it takes 24 hours. I really do. You got to let it wash out of your system, and that's what the off day is for. And you spend that time as you let go of the last one. You get ready for the next one, and you remind yourself how lucky you are to have the opportunity and to be playing in the NBA playoffs, coaching in the NBA playoffs. We have an incredible opportunity, so we can't wait for tomorrow night.
Does it make you feel a little bit better, at least, that you guys do have home court advantage for this series in the situation that you're in?
Well, we're definitely in a better spot, given that if it goes 7, we have the game 7 at home. That's for sure an advantage. But we don't really think about that, and we just think about game 5. So that's the only focus.
After the game last night, you said in real time it felt like there were some flops and gamesmanship going on,
Yeah.
and you said you wanted to see the video.
Yeah.
Now that you've seen the video, what do you think?
Yeah, there was definitely some gamesmanship, and I give them credit. If you can sell a call in this league and do it, then you do it, whatever it takes to win. The foul at 3:25 or so, pinned down on White, was really, really a tough call for us. Tough call. I mean, it's a blatant flop. He just takes a dive, and the ref bought it. And like I said, you give him credit, but you lament the fact that as a league, we're gonna reward that type of play with the game and the series, all that stuff at stake. You would hope that the officials would recognize when a guy just takes a dive.
So what do you tell the team in that situation? Do you encourage them to sell harder tomorrow, or how do you learn from that and apply it to tomorrow's game?
You don't. I think, to me, what I've learned coaching in FIBA has a great rule. There's a flop rule. And if a referee deems that a player is flopped, they just call a technical foul, and it's pretty penalizing. And so the flopping has basically been eliminated from FIBA, and we have the ability to do the same thing in the NBA if we want. I think we should address it because the players are so smart, and the entire regular season is about gamesmanship and trying to fool the refs, and this is how it's been for a while, and it's up to us as a league. Do we want to fix this? Because if not, we'll just get the Chris Paul swipe through at half court when you're in the bonus, and for some reason we're shooting 2 free throws at a critical time of a playoff game when nothing has happened and nobody's gained an advantage. So these are all things that my personal plea to the NBA. I think we can do better in terms of cleaning up the flopping. In the meantime, I give the Lakers credit for the plays that they've been able to sell.
Hey, Coach, you just mentioned a minute ago about how competitive your guys are. Obviously, these guys play at a high level. They play professionally, and they've been in this situation before. But it's been a while since you guys have been down 3-1 in a series and able to come back and get that. And then you hear people talk about, oh, well, they've done it 4 times. They've gotten the championship. They've built a dynasty. Do you feel the desperation that the guys kind of talked about in Game 7, ahead of Game 7, when Steph had that conversation between he and the team? Do you feel that in this series, that they really want to go in and try and win these games and get out of this series and, of course, go to the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, of course. These guys, this is what they do. They're competitors. They love this stuff. You can see all the posters back here on the wall of all of the championships these guys have won. So that's what it's about. So they can't wait to get back on the horse tomorrow.
Steve, Jordan was obviously a big part of your success this season. He's obviously struggled in this series in the playoffs. What can you say? What have you said to him to try to get him going for tomorrow?
All of that is private, of course, but I think that my experience in the playoffs, both as a player and as a coach, is this is a big part of it. Every series, there's players who go through struggles. I went through them as a player. Things don't go your way. Maybe the playing time doesn't come. Maybe you get in a shooting slump. So my experience is you jump right back into it and you let her rip. Like you can't get tentative. You get out there and you be yourself. And you easier said than done. But there's sort of an emotional breakthrough that you can have. It's part of the process of becoming an NBA player, is the ability to recognize, hey, this is happening, this is real, and I got to get through this. And lots of players go through this every single year in every series, and it's like I said, it's all part of it.
I know not an excuse by any means, but Kevon wasn't feeling too good at the start of the series. It looked like Gary had a little bit of an issue last game as well. Just how are you guys doing right now as far as health-wise? How's everyone feeling?
Yeah, everyone's feeling well.
And then just kind of to go back about what you were saying with the message from the veterans as far as kind of taking it one day at a time, was there a time, whether it be today or last night, that a Steph or a Draymond, we know Clay's a little more quiet, might have talked with the group?
Yes, but I'm not going to share any.
Fair answer.
Thanks. Oh, I'm sorry, Maddie.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a mic right next to me. I'm so sorry. Just really quick. I mean, you kind of touched on this, but having a Draymond, a Steph, and Clay, just everything that they've accomplished together. Obviously, you're not looking forward to the future beyond the here and now because you have a task at hand. But how much does that make you appreciate this moment, and also how much does that give you confidence that this team can kind of right its woes?
How much does what give me that? Give me
Those three together, having them be your foundation.
I mean, this whole thing has been built on those three guys and Andre. Those are really the core figures in all of this. So, yeah, I mean, as long as this group is together, I will always believe we're going to win every series, and it doesn't matter if it's 3-1 or whatever. I think we're going to win every game.